Good morning. This is Nooga Radio Health Essentials, and I am your host, Loretta Lynn. And you've just tuned in to AM 1240 or 92.7, plus live streaming on YouTube, Facebook, and you can tune in on the TuneIn app on your smartphone. Welcome to your opportunity to take control of your health. I am your health and wellness guide, your inspiration, advisor, messenger, reporter, and quarterback of all issues related to health, from nutrition and supplements to alternative therapies, medical interfaces, and all health challenges and goals. I want to know what your health concerns, issues, and goals are. What's important to you and your family? So any health-related activities going on in the Nooga Radio listening or viewing area, please let us know. You can call, text, tweet, or message us on Facebook. You can call me at 423-605-4719 and let us know what's going on so we can share that with our viewers and listeners. So I do have a guest with me this morning, and we're going to introduce Ryan here very shortly. But first, wanted to let you know that men and women, how is your personal life? Do you lack energy or stamina? Ladies, are you tired and can't seem to get in the mood? If you have a low libido, or for men, low testosterone, essential oils can help. They are natural, safe, and help you reignite the spark and passion in your life. Call today, 605-4719 for a free consult and 10% off your order today. Or you can look on Facebook for Loretta Lynn's Essential Oils. And with that, Health Essentials is here to give everyone information about health issues and nutrition, activities and events, and what a great resources we have here in the Chattanooga area. And we want people to take full advantage of these. Sometimes we just don't know where to go or who to ask or what questions to ask. So today I have with me a exercise physiologist. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yes. Right. Okay. I have with me today Ryan Douglas. Ryan is the owner. He's a personal trainer with Pinnacle Personal Training, and he's also at a Better You Day Spa. He has a bachelor's degree in exercise physiology from East Tennessee State. I can't get the word exercise out today. Okay. Ryan, welcome.
Thank you for having me today.
Well, it's our pleasure, and we're looking forward to what you can tell us to better take care of ourselves so we look better, we feel better, we don't feel guilty when we eat gelato at night. Mm-hmm. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from?
Oh, I'm born and raised in Cleveland, Tennessee, and I've been doing personal training for about 6 years now, and have been in the health industry for about 10, include the time that I started my studies in college. I have worked primarily out of Chattanooga. I've had the opportunity to work at different places in corporate wellness, health coaching, and now strictly doing the personal training. But I've had a great opportunity to learn from some great people, and getting to do this job. The great part about it is just the relationships you build with people, and we all feel good after we're done exercising. So it's always a good time.
Yeah. Even if there is a little pain, you feel better knowing that you're doing something to help take care of yourself, which is good for your family as well.
Absolutely.
So that's, I know, what a lot of people want to know is, of course, we all want a magic pill. What's, the shortest, easiest way, because we tend to be procrastinators or lazy, or think, well, I don't really need to do that every day, do I?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
So what's the best form of exercise for people for health and longevity? We've got gyms popping up everywhere. We've got running. We've got bicycling, aerobics, jazzercise. There's a lot of opportunities out there. So how do we know what's the best for us?
Mm-hmm. Well, and there are no shortage of options. That is, everywhere you look, somebody is coming up with either a new form of exercise or a new type of workout, and I certainly have no problem with that. I think it's great. The one thing that I think most people need to know is that fitness and health is not proprietary at all. There's not some secret magic code that somebody has that other people need to know. or you need to pay them to know what it is. There's, when it comes down to health and longevity, I like to break it down into two different things, two different forms of exercise we can do, and this is what personal training world is. You have aerobic fitness and you have resistance training. Obviously, resistance training is built on, building new muscle, but also as we age, retaining the muscle that we have so we don't lose it. They say after the age of 30, most people are going to lose 3 to 8% of their muscle mass every decade. And so, as time goes on, it's more and more important to keep up some resistance training. And when I say resistance training, that could be, as simple as body weight exercises, push-ups, doing squats, lunges, any of these type of things. It doesn't have to mean you have to be in a gym and have access to weights or machines or anything like that. There's plenty that you can do, on your own. But
that's good, because I don't see myself going to the gym. I know a lot of women are worried about bulking out, but I know after the age of 30, and most people probably don't think about that. We think of it when we're 40 or 50. Oh, I need to go. You see a lot of people walking.
Mm-hmm.
Is walking considered a good resistance, or should they, like I said, put lunges in there?
Yeah. When we're talking about the kind of reversing the aging process that's going to happen over, our later decades, walking is great to do. It's great for blood flow. It can help with, lower back pain, things like that, just having that blood flow moving through the body. But when it comes to resistance training and keeping the muscle and making sure we're maintaining that, walking is probably not enough. Certainly it's better than nothing, but I would definitely encourage, a simple exercise plan that if that's not your thing, you don't really care about it, something simple that you can do 3 to 4 times a week. And that's the good thing about body weight training, is you can do it more often and not really, aside from the first workout or two, probably not have to deal with a ton of soreness and a lot of the things that keep us away from really wanting to push our bodies.
So if say people are, they're sedentary, they're working, they sit at a desk most of the time, or maybe they're driving a car around or a truck all day. If they, obviously we're, not using those muscles, what's the best way to get into a routine? How would somebody go about starting an exercise regimen or program?
Yeah, I would recommend to most people, since most of us have sitting jobs, or in particular for people who do have sitting jobs and truck drivers and things of that sort, like we talked about, something as simple as every 30 minutes or once an hour, getting up and walking around, doing some squats, doing some stretches. That can be almost as important as anything, is because when we sit for long periods of time, the muscles on the front side of the body, at least in the front side of your legs, called a lot of the hip flexor muscles, can become shortened and a little bit tighter, and that in turn can pull on the spine and tends to cause lower back pain in some people. So there are different stretches you can do, and that's the great thing about the internet, is you can find these anywhere. If you were just to Google hip flexor stretches or quad stretches, anything like that would be vitally important for somebody who is sitting all day. And then also the upper body, we want to make sure you're sitting in an upright position, because we tend to hunch forward, slouch. Exactly. Mm-hmm. The shoulders get pulled forward, and that can lead to middle and upper back pain and sometimes some neck issues. So when it comes to while you're sitting, those are the things you want to think about. And then, just as simple as getting up, walking around, doing some squats, something that kind of gets your heart rate up a little bit, that, obviously won't make you too sweaty or anything. But, and then, obviously when you're done working for the day, then you can really put in the effort to do your exercise program.
So you had mentioned that every decade, after the age of 30, we start losing muscle mass. Is that correct?
Yes.
What if somebody didn't didn't exercise for, say, 5 or 10 years, and all of a sudden they want to start exercising? Are they rebuilding those muscles then, and they can still increase their longevity? And
absolutely. There's been research done on 85-year-olds, and they have found that in a 17-week, I know that's pretty long term. Most people, it's hard to get 17 weeks, but in 17 weeks, the 85-year-old, the average 85-year-old in this study was able to increase their muscle mass by 44%.
Wow.
And this is an 85-year-old.
That's almost 50% in 17 weeks, so roughly about 4 months.
Exactly.
3 or 4 months.
And so it is very much reversible if you're able to, physically able and willing to do the work. These are not some kind of high-tech, very complicated exercise program that these people did. It was very simple, something that you could do, at home or at your, local YMCA, wherever you want to go. But yes, you can definitely reverse that aging process for sure.
That's always good to know, because I know we're always looking for the magic cure to look better, feel better. And I know, especially myself, for women, it's hard for us because we do want to take care of our appearance, but we also want to stay healthy. And sometimes that's difficult when you're working full time. And if you have a family at home, you have to go home and take care of that. Stress adds more, to the aging process, I believe. So isn't that one of the benefits of exercising, is that it does help really reduce stress and less anxiety and depression?
Yes, absolutely. And I mean, especially exercising with a partner, whether it be a spouse or a friend or, just a group exercise that, you don't really know anybody, but being around other people, it's such a big factor in, not only in the, brain chemistry, but just, the social aspect of it, having that support system there, and, having somewhere. And really, it's all about making a way to where you enjoy exercise.
Right.
And, not everybody has to do the same kind of exercise. If you enjoy bike riding, if you enjoy cross-country skiing, whatever it is, definitely doing that and doing it with someone else is a huge factor.
Yeah, it's a great motivator, too. It's hard enough to get yourself up in the mornings and go to the gym before you have to go to work, but then at least you feel proud of yourself after you accomplish that, and then you do it on a continual basis. And during the winter months, we go to the gym and work out, and it's a lot easier when you go with someone or if you find a friend or a partner, or definitely for accountability purposes too, join it. And like I said, it's a social aspect of exercise, and you don't have to really look at it that way.
Absolutely. And then, as a personal trainer who does it for a living, I far more enjoy working out with someone else. It is painful for me to put myself through a workout by myself. So I understand that, and definitely get somebody that you don't mind being around and suffering a little bit with in a good way.
Yeah, definitely. So I know recently I've started bike riding, road bike riding. I lived in Florida for about 16 years, and Florida's flat, as everybody knows. And I had a mountain bike, but I would ride the trails a lot. And I do 10 to 25 miles almost every day. So that was it was good. And I did it by myself most of the time. And that was kind of lonely, and it's kind of hard because your mind just wanders. But it's also it kept me fit. It gave me time to myself, because I was married and had 4 kids then. So it was my little escape,
right.
Even before church sometimes. But it was refreshing to just get out there and then eventually start meeting people. And now with all the groups we have, even here in Chattanooga, there's the bike club, and there's a lot of different groups you can get involved with, whether you want to do paddling, kayaking, or stand-up paddleboard, rock climbing. There's a host of activities out there where newcomers or people that have lived here for years to get out and enjoy the outdoors as well as stay healthy and fit. But I guess where I was going with that too is that when I moved here, I wasn't doing as much bike riding as I liked. I wasn't familiar with the roads or the streets where you could go. Then there's the river walk. So I've noticed, though, I've switched from an upright bike to a recumbent. And a recumbent bike, you're kind of laying back, your feet are up, so your muscles. And I've noticed, especially in my glutes or my hamstrings, like you're mentioning, the hip flexors. During the day, I am somewhat sedentary. I'm usually sitting at a computer or I'm driving a lot. So I was wondering, as far as the exercising goes, what would you recommend to someone who's changing from a sedentary life to being more active?
Well, starting off, there's a ton of information out there that'll tell you that one thing is the best thing. There's high intensity interval training is all the craze right now, which is there's different methods of doing it, but it's supposed to be really intense exercise for a short period of time, and then you recover, and then you repeat that over and over. So you'll see that all over the place, saying, this is what you have to do to burn the most calories, lose the most fat. I really think that the best way to go about it is a combination of aerobic training and strength training. And like I said, strength training, a lot of people think weights. It doesn't have to be weights. It can just be your body weight, push-ups, squats, lunges, different things like that. But the aerobic training is almost as important. We want the resistance training to avoid that age-related muscle loss that we all experience, and hopefully negate. But the aerobic fitness factor is important for so many things, for lowering inflammation levels, for brain activity, and obviously just the risk of cardiovascular disease. When the statistic I saw the other day, 1 out of 31 women are dying of breast cancer right now. 1 out of 3 will die from some kind of cardiovascular related disease. And I think we hear so much about the others that we forget about those, and that those are almost I don't want to say the easiest, certainly not say the easiest to manage, but there's things that we can do rather easily to help improve our cardiovascular health. I mean, that's where your 30-minute walks can come in and really be of benefit, especially if you walk at a faster pace. And so, for somebody going from a sedentary lifestyle to wanting to move forward and get a little more fit and just take the first step on their journey, I would say try to get, 4 or 5 days a week of exercise. Maybe one day that's a 30-minute walk at a brisk pace, building your way up to where you could do an hour or so. And then just doing some push-ups at your house. Start low and say, okay, today I'm going to try to do 10 push-ups. That can be, the so-called girl push-ups where your knees are on the ground, or on your countertop. It doesn't have to be, totally flat on the ground. And just starting with that and slowly building your way up.
Okay. And so for, even if you were, I know for women, you could use the wall.
Yeah, absolutely.
And resistance, I've seen people when they've gone through physical therapy, and they use those bands. Like
bands, yes. Yes, the bands can be
those?
tremendous. Yes, especially if you're not really a gym person, you don't want to buy expensive equipment or have to go to a gym and get a membership. Bands, you can do a ton of different things with them, and there's videos everywhere on the internet. It's a great thing. You can buy a single band and just Google band exercises, and it'll show you 30 different things that you can do and that you can get a good workout from. Muscle building that we want.
That's true. I've seen quite a few of those on the internet, especially when they're trying to sell you the high end, the whole kit. They want you to buy the videos, and and you really don't need that, because there are plenty of free videos that are helpful out there. You just got to use your best judgment.
Absolutely. And that is a good point too that I was stressing. Not all of them are necessarily created equal. Not all fitness advice is created equal. But you can, like you said, use your best judgment, but there's plenty of content out there that's free and that is a good place to get started.
Yes, we when we were changing our routines up, and I know we've talked a lot about trying to go from sedentary and starting out easy, and you can still feel good about that. I think that's the other key motivators. Even if you just do 5 or 10 minutes today, that's more than you did yesterday or more than you would have done. And keeping that motivation up, finding an accountability partner. Maybe you need some other inspiration using videos, and there's plenty on cable television as well. What about yoga? How do you feel about yoga as kind of a complementary with your exercise program? Maybe there's a warm-up or in between?
Yeah, I think yoga is great. I can't personally say that I am any good at yoga or have the ability to teach it or anything like that, but I have done a class or two, and extremely difficult. And I think it's I mean, a lot of people, it is, you know, we talk about resistance exercise. There's plenty of resistance in yoga.
Especially belly dancing. You haven't tried
Exactly.
that. That'll really work your core muscles. I'll tell you. That's one great way to get in shape. You work on your breathing and just different muscles you don't normally think of. And within after the first couple of training sessions for belly dancing, I was really impressed to how much better you feel. I mean, you're sore afterwards, but you're toning down.
Absolutely. And that's another thing too, you know, with just starting any kind of general fitness program is, you know, depending on what your goal is, if you're wanting to, you know, look better, or if you're just wanting to be healthier, you can count on is you will start to feel better before you maybe notice any, you know, changes in the mirror or something like that, which may seem kind of a demotivator because we all want to see those fast changes in the mirror, but it can also be powerful when you really do. It's like, oh my, I feel better. Like I feel more energetic. I feel, you know, it's not quite as hard to get up off the couch when my leg muscles are stronger. So, you know, all those kind of things are important, but yeah, you'll definitely feel better when starting out.
Okay. And what about diets? I know we started to talk about diets a little bit, and we could probably get more into this after the break. But a lot of people feel like they need to have some kind of special diet when they're exercising. What do you recommend to your clients?
And, you know, I give very general recommendations. I'm not a registered dietitian or anything, don't claim to be. And I do know, though, that and this is what I'll tell my clients, there's research out that shows that whether it be a ketogenic diet, a low carb diet, low fat, you know, there's so many different things. You see something new every week, and it's marketed as, you know, this is the best way. In one way or another, depending, they may get you there on different paths, but one way or another, they're all working by lowering your calories. Exactly.
Yeah, it's always been calorie intake, and unfortunately, in America, everything is. Do you want to upsize that? Do you want a medium or large? You know, where's the small option? I think we should have smaller plates. I think is one tip I've heard from somebody is. Use a smaller plate when you're dishing out your meals. That way you'll make smaller portions, because part of the problem is we do tend to eat more than we should.
Absolutely.
And I think a great tip I like to tell people to, when you are hungry or you still don't feel full, drink water, because water is so important for not only hydrating, but digesting your food and helping you feel fuller and getting the toxins out of your body.
Exactly. And sometimes hunger can be mistaken for thirst. And so you think you're hungry, and if you drink a glass of water, sometimes it can take that craving away.
Yeah. And if you wake up in the morning, you're already 2% dehydrated. So it's good to reach for a glass of water first. And I usually put a drop of lemon essential oil or lime in there, or even grapefruit's really good for your diet and cleansing the body as well. But we are going to break right after this. We will come back with Ryan, talk a little bit more about your diet, exercise, supplements. You are listening to Health Essentials on Nooga Radio.
The Tennessee Valley's news, talk, and sports leader. Nooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM.
You've been in a wreck. 756-6400. You've been wrongfully fired. 756-6400. A turkey is suing you out of the blue. 756-6400. Confused about a business startup? 756-6400. That's the number for you. 756-6400. Right here, right now, Chattanooga. Call now. Top flight legal help awaits. Get biz advice now. Representation to fight for your right. What are you waiting for? That's 756-6400. Don't sit on your rights. You've got remedies. Turn your tragedy into cash. You've got the solution, from estate planning all the way to probate. Act now. Top attorneys in Chattanooga are waiting to help you get relief. Act now. No out of pocket. You don't pay a dime until we win. So win with us. 756-6400. Call now. Top flight legal help awaits. What are you waiting for? That's 756-6400. Turn your tragedy into cash. Act now. No out of pocket. You don't pay a dime until we win. So win with us. 756-6400. 756-6400.
3, 2, 1. Chattanooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM's news, now.
Day 6, Carol Gaddy held as a political prisoner in Sequatchie County. She refused to allow an illegal warrantless search of her home. Priest accused of shooting the Pope. Jalen Priest has been taken into custody after Mr. Pope was shot 5 times with a .45 caliber handgun. Bullets seen peppering his Jeep Liberty. The police collected 5 .45 caliber shell casings from Gillespie Road. Mr. Pope says that he was driving down the street when Mr. Priest motioned to him. When he pulled over to see what was going on, Priest opened fire. Mr. Priest has been arrested. Police were called to disperse a crowd on East 3rd Street on early Saturday morning at a gas station parking lot. The police say when they got there, shots were fired. They returned fire to an unspecified target. And then they say they were almost hit by a car. They chased down the man who drove the car and took him into custody. Mr. LaWande Haggard, accused of driving this vehicle. Chattanooga Police Violent Crimes Bureau was investigating. Russell Stroud, Nooga Radio News, now.
The Tennessee Valley's news, talk, and sports leader. Nooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM.
AM 1240 and 92.7 FM's fast forecast now. Starting out our morning with temperatures in the 70s. 71 is our temperature for our early morning. Getting up to 81 for our high today. 63 is the low. Overcast, it looks like rain, but we shouldn't get any until Wednesday. Tuesday, 87 the high, 68 the low, and partly cloudy on Tuesday. As we get into our afternoon, temperatures rising up into the 80s. That's your fast forecast. Now.
The Tennessee Valley's news, talk, and sports leader. Nooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM.
Good morning and welcome back to Health Essentials Nooga Radio. We have been talking this morning with an exercise physiologist, Ryan Douglas, with Pinnacle Personal Training. And we were talking just before the break about diet and exercise, supplements, things like that, what to be aware of or how you can start changing some of your habits to incorporate them in your life so you have a healthier, longer life. So, Ryan, welcome back.
Thank you for having me.
It's our pleasure. So if people want to get in touch with you, how do they do that?
I have a Facebook page is how I manage most of my stuff. It's if you just search Pinnacle Personal Training on Facebook. And I have more of my personal information there, a cell phone number and email address that people can reach out to me there. But usually a Facebook message is just the best way. Okay. And you also, I found you through. Yes, I am. I'm right near a Better You Day Spa. We share some property over there, and so if you're over that way, if you know where that is, then you know where I'm at. Okay, wonderful. Well, before the break, as I said, we were talking about different benefits that people could receive from different types of exercise, whether you're walking, bike riding, or aerobics training. And I think you had some more information you wanted to share with our listeners about aerobic exercise and training. Yeah. And I know we were talking quite a bit about resistance training and how, we're wanting to prevent that age-related muscle loss and deterioration and things like that. But the cardiovascular system, too, is of the utmost importance, and specifically for inflammation levels. And as you all have probably heard, high levels of inflammation can lead to many different health issues. A little acute inflammation is okay at the end of a workout or for, whatever it may be, whatever you do, particularly for exercises where we want to see those acute rises. But research has found that a high level of aerobic fitness is one of the best ways to mitigate chronic inflammation. Chronic inflammation can arise from just stress at work, environmental stress, dietary stress, mental stress, any of that kind of stuff that you don't necessarily feel on a day-to-day basis, but it can all be adding up and obviously can lead to strokes and all these kinds of different things. But there was a review of 11 different papers, and they followed a bunch of different people, a bunch of different athletes, and then regular people who were sedentary, and then, regular people who were active. And they found that the only athletes that lived longer than the average person were aerobic endurance athletes. And they tend to have an average lifespan of 4 to 8 years longer than even team sport athletes or just your average sedentary person. And so, there's and that's through a variety of different factors and mechanisms, but a high aerobic fitness level, which you can get from, running, from biking, from swimming. It doesn't have to be any one particular thing. And it doesn't have to be a very intense exercise. It can be a light jog for 30 or 40 minutes, things like that. And so I know that high intensity interval training is a very popular topic, and it is important as well. But, it's good to have that base, and the majority of your training, you want to kind of be in that aerobic level where it's, kind of a talking pace. So if you're riding, you're able to talk and carry a conversation.
Well, it depends on how experienced you are at bike riding. I know at bike riding, we can usually communicate if you're on the same level. And if you're riding 16 to 18 miles per hour, that's kind of our average. And there's different groups, 12 to 14. And as I've been growing pains in my bike riding here in Chattanooga as well as around the country, it's a great social event. It really is. People might think it's a lot of work. You have to go do this or go do that, but I found a lot of friends, and I just feel healthier. And you just feel good. Even after, a 50-mile bike ride, you may be sore, but you feel good. And that says a lot for your health and longevity as well, because like you're saying, aerobic exercising or even resistance training, they're going to have a lot of benefits from not only healthy, but for their heart, but social aspects, improving your self-esteem, less anxiety and depression, and even a sense of control, because you're taking control of your life, your health, your well-being, and that's what's important, really, because we can't expect other people to do that for you or say, oh, here's a magic pill or a magic oil, and you're all better.
Right, exactly. And, and all those benefits come in. And then, if you're able to keep your diet in check, you'll see those most wanted improvements in your physique or physical appearance. Don't need to negate that, because I know that is a big driving motivator for a lot of us. But yeah, those will come. If you do the other stuff, you get to enjoy this other stuff first. Those results will follow.
That's true. I know. Even just in a short period of time, you can notice a difference, because you're also rehydrating yourself, and drinking water also helps with cleansing the body, getting rid of the toxins. And that's important, because we don't realize how toxic we are just being sedentary and sitting drinking a Dr. Pepper.
Absolutely.
So what can someone expect? Like, say I'm like, oh, well, I think I need some personal training. I need someone to motivate me. I need to get off the couch more, or I'm behind the desk too much. When somebody comes to see you, what can they expect?
Well, we will always start off with an assessment. We'll do some different kind of body measurements, and then a cardiovascular fitness assessment. And then we'll do a couple of different things that I use to test strength levels. So we'll get a good baseline down. But the main thing you can expect is, we keep it fun. We will have clients things that they enjoy to do. I've got one client who really enjoys hiking. And so for 20 minutes of her workout one day, I may just let her put on a weighted vest, and we'll go hike around the area that we're at. We have some space available there. So, whatever keeps you ticking, I will do my best to find that out and to give you that. And, the number one thing I think that people like using personal trainers for is accountability. And that's what you'll get. You'll have somebody to help keep you accountable, but also motivated, and to kind of guide you to hopefully wherever it is you're wanting to be at.
Yeah, you mentioned the weighted vests. Now, I'm somewhat familiar with them, and it is good, obviously, if they can incorporate something that they enjoy doing that makes it more fun. But I've heard the weights, like for the ankles or the legs, can be detriment. So don't people need to really look at, check with their doctor and check with someone before they start just buying weights and putting them on their ankles and trying to walk 5 or 10 miles?
Absolutely. That was a thing, even back in the 90s and stuff. That was a very popular, if you're walking with the weights and then the ankle weights on, and, some of those things can maybe short term, they would almost be better to use in your home for different exercises. You can target different muscles, but for walking, they can sometimes, strain some muscles a little too much, more than what we want them to strain, and can cause some, gait imbalances, and the walking, can just cause some shoulder things. It's almost better to walk faster as opposed to necessarily. And then, with weighted vest, obviously, it's a very special circumstance with this lady. She enjoys hiking, so she needs to be prepared to carry a pack long distances. I certainly wouldn't. That's certainly not a necessity. And then, if you were going to keep it high fitness level, there's people that do these CrossFit games and things, and obviously they would need a certain weight. But you're talking about
that looks dangerous. Now, from what I've seen and heard, that can actually people have actually gotten hurt.
Yeah, and I don't want to offend any of the CrossFit people. I think that I kind of equate it to playing tackle football with no pads. If it would be a form of exercise, and there's some people who can do it and never get hurt and they enjoy it, and then I say that is perfect. I don't think it's for everybody, and that's my only. It's a competition based form of exercise, and
it looks like it would be bad for the back too. When I look at these people lifting up the weights and the way they're doing it or throwing things, it just looks like it would be very harmful to their low back or maybe even their neck.
Yeah, and it all depends on the individual lifter. There are a lot of these people that you see on on ESPN that actually make it on TV for the CrossFit Games. They have excellent form. They've trained, and so they are able to handle. And that's another thing too with exercises, even with the heavier weights. None of them are necessarily inherently dangerous. If done wrong, they can be very dangerous. And so that's what you got to watch out.
I guess it's like any exercise. When you start, sometimes we're a little gung-ho or we overdo it in the beginning when we're exercising.
Absolutely.
Whether you go to the gym and you think, oh, no pain, no gain, I need to work out until it hurts. That's not true.
Exactly. And it's and that's the kind of thing I was talking about earlier with the high intensity stuff. Really, if you're really into your fitness training and you're wanting to improve, whether it be your running time or whatever your motivation is, your high intensity really only needs to be about 20% of your work. And if you look at some of the most elite athletes that we see, Olympic type athletes, that's what they're doing. People think, oh, they must just be going so hard every day, but it's really not. Maybe to us average people, what they do would be very hard, but for them, they are spending about 80% of their time doing, low intensity work, and then the other 20 you can really crank it up. But yeah, it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to kill you. You don't have to feel like you've been beaten down every time you leave the gym. Yeah.
It's that show they have on TV where there's competitions.
You thinking The Biggest Loser?
No, not that one. The one where they work out and there's competitions around the country and they're real obstacle courses that are very challenging.
Oh, yes, I know. Well, there's American Ninja Warrior, and then there's also there's Spartan races and things like that. But
America's Ninja Warrior. That looks tough, and people actually build their gyms around that now so they can practice.
Oh yeah, I mean you can see some people have they will have a whole gym dedicated to it, or I've seen people on TV anyways have built it in their barn, and they're swinging from the rafters. Exactly.
But you kind of have to know what the equipment's going to be when you get there, because sometimes they have these little looks like they're crawling across a beam, and I guess the shelf is very narrow, so it's very difficult to hold your fingers on that. That takes a lot of upper body strength.
Oh, it does. Upper body and
for most of those exercises.
Absolutely. Grip strength, is tested almost more than anything else in those competitions.
So when someone is exercising, how do you know what increments to increase it on? Like say this week I'm bike riding, and when do I know how much to push myself, or I'm not pushing myself hard enough if I'm at the gym?
There's certain tests you can do. Obviously, one of the best things to do, really serious about improving your aerobic fitness, or even weight training, but specifically for aerobic fitness, heart rate monitors are great. They can tell you can get them relatively cheap. You don't have to have a $150 heart rate monitor. I mean, a lot of the Fitbits and things like that nowadays will do it for you, but just to be able to monitor where you're at, know how hard you're training, and then setting, an arbitrary time. Let's say one test is you take a work capacity test. It's 12 minutes. And you basically, whether you're on a bike or on a treadmill, you just see how far you can go in 12 minutes. And obviously, there's cardiovascular issues or anything like that. You always want to be checked out with a doctor first. But those are kind of tests that you can do, even if it's just, I want to see how fast I can or how far I can briskly walk in 12 minutes. And then, you do that, you keep your training up. And then in 6 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks, you do that 12-minute test and see if you've gone further. And that's one of the best ways to track your progress.
You shouldn't expect yourself to increase 10% every week. Then that might be a little aggressive.
Right. Well, and, it's beginners typically can have a lot of improvements really quickly, whether it be for aerobic fitness or strength training. You'll see some big time results. I don't want to say big time, but you'll see results pretty quickly. And then eventually they'll kind of taper off and you have to progress yourself. Yeah. Exactly.
So how did you get in? I don't think we talked about this, but how did you get into being a personal trainer? Did you choose it or did it choose you?
Well, that's a good question. I was always interested in it. I was always, as a high schooler, you're working out for sports. And then when it came time to go to college and decide what I wanted to focus on, my mom gave me some great advice, and she said, make sure that you think you're going to love doing every single day what you're going to do. And so I went against, going for a generic business degree and decided to focus on exercise physiology. And since then, it's been, it's what I think about. It's what I enjoy reading about. And so in a sense, I guess it chose me, but I definitely, it's what I love.
That's the best occupation, is to find something you enjoy doing, and hopefully that can earn you an income, and then you'll have less stress in your life too, but in this case, you're helping other people.
Absolutely.
Just wanted to finish up with diets and exercise. I'm sure you probably get asked a lot, and I know you mentioned you're not a registered dietitian or nutritionist. However, I'm sure you have some tips for people as far as when they start exercising. What do you usually recommend to your clients as far as their diet or even taking supplements?
Yeah, I typically like to recommend that for the most part, most people need to increase their protein intake. We typically don't get as much as we're thinking, and making a shake, a smoothie. That's a great way to do that. It helps you can knock out 20 or 30 grams in a day, but not only for body composition purposes of looking better, but higher protein will keep you less hungry throughout the day. It'll control your insulin levels so they're not spiking and making you hungry, and control your blood sugar levels. And as far as different diets go, and there's a lot of talk about timing. Should I be eating 5 small meals a day or 3 large meals a day? A lot of the research on those is basically, it comes down to you and you personally. Do you seem to enjoy 5 meals better, or do you prefer 3, or maybe even 2 really large meals? What it really comes down to is whether or not you're losing weight, and what I want to say, losing fat, because not everybody needs to lose weight, but we all want to lose fat for sure.
Sometimes I've noticed too, you can lose weight, but you're gaining muscle too. So you may not, if you're looking at the scale, you got to keep in mind you're building muscle.
Absolutely, exactly. That's a big thing. We all want to lose fat. That's what's going to make you look better. That's what's going to make your clothes fit better. And so if you're starting an exercise program, specifically if you're doing a lot of resistance training with weights, body weight, maybe not so much, but you may not see the drops in the scale as quickly as you would like, but you will notice, the pants start fitting a little looser. And
especially for men. I think men, even if they're doing it for weight management, men tend to lose weight a lot faster than women.
They do. We were blessed in that regard.
And supplements, vitamins are a big talk for people exercising, or even if you're not exercising, you still want to be healthy. And I don't know if we mentioned the deficiencies sometimes, and you did mention protein as one, and I guess protein shakes are good before you work out. What do you recommend usually for clients? Do you do any kind of testing for what they may be deficient in, or is there ways for them to tell so they know what vitamins or supplements they need to be taking?
Right. I don't do any of that testing, but there is, most people can go through their doctor and get a blood test, and it can tell you, not only can it tell you inflammation levels, which will let you know, if you need to get that under control, but they can tell you whether you're iron deficient, if you're vitamin D deficient, if you need some B12 maybe for energy purposes. They're different things, but it's certainly not a necessity. But I like to recommend protein supplementation just because I feel like most people can use it. It can help recover from workouts and keep your appetite in check. As far as anything else, there's certainly a lot of research out there that shows that some supplements can help improve performance and can
vitamin B, B complex. So those
exactly. And then when you're really talking about growing muscle and sports performance, things like that, creatine can be helpful, but that's certainly not a necessity and not something that I recommend to people generally. But yeah,
especially for women too, a bone supplement or a vitamin D. I know even if you're taking a vitamin, you may still be deficient because a lot of times your body doesn't break down the vitamin. Sometimes it passes right through you. And I know of certain over-the-counter ones that are like that. People think they're getting their one-a-day vitamin or getting everything in one, and it's really difficult to get the supplements that your body needs or craves in one supplement. Sometimes you may have to take several, and that will vary from time to time as well, depending on your diet or any other changes in your life. You may need more of one and less of another. But I want to thank Ryan for coming out this morning and joining us here on Health Essentials Nooga Radio. And please remember to check us out on Facebook at Health Essentials TN and Nooga Radio.
Chattanooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM's news now.
Day 6, Carol Gaddy held as a political prisoner in Sequatchie County. She refused to allow an illegal warrantless search of her home. Priest accused of shooting the Pope. Jalen Priest has been taken into custody after Mr. Pope was shot 5 times with a .45 caliber handgun. Bullets seen peppering his Jeep Liberty. The police collected 5 .45 caliber shell casings from Gillespie Road. Mr. Pope says that he was driving down the street when Mr. Priest motioned to him. When he pulled over to see what was going on, Priest opened fire. Mr. Priest has been arrested. Police were called to disperse a crowd on East 3rd Street on early Saturday morning at a gas station parking lot. The police say when they got there, shots were fired. They returned fire to an unspecified target. And then they say they were almost hit by a car. They chased down the man who drove the car and took him into custody. Mr. LaWande Haggard, accused of driving this vehicle. Chattanooga Police Violent Crimes Bureau was investigating. Russell Stroud, Nooga Radio News, now.
In-depth traffic, news, and information. Mornings on Nooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM.
AM 1240 and 92.7 FM's fast forecast now. Starting out our morning with temperatures in the 70s. 71 is our temperature for our early morning. Getting up to 81 for our high today. 63 is the low. Overcast. It looks like rain, but we shouldn't get any until Wednesday. Tuesday, 87 the high, 68 the low, and partly cloudy on Tuesday. As we get into our afternoon, temperatures rising up into the 80s. That's your fast forecast. Now.
The Tennessee Valley's news, talk, and sports leader. Nooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM.
Essential oils are an overlooked benefit. They're a remedy for allergies, sinuses, headaches, and sleep problems. Aches and pains? Let me help you live a better life. Hi, Loretta, Lynn here. It's a free